Kazu on the right. Blue-red Gifts Storm, we've been calling it.
And this iteration of Storm, Gifts Ungiven, it makes a lot of sense to make that the hallmark card. Previously, Storm decks were pretty likely to actually get a win when they started going off. Because of Gifts Ungiven and Past in Flames, if you don't hate the graveyard, you just have inevitability. You will be able to storm for enough with Gifts Ungiven.
Checking Kazu's deck list to see if he'd added Opt to his deck. The answer is no, not for this tournament.
There's been a little bit back and forth on whether that card is good enough for Modern.
Yeah, I don't know if it's better than Serum Visions. I thought it might be better than Sleight of Hand. But Kazu is sticking with the standard gifts list.
Yeah. Certainly in a proactive non-Snapcaster deck, you would play the 4 Serum Visions for sure. Then it's a question after that.
All right, turn 2 Goblin Electromancer from Kazu. We'll see if Harlan can respond. Negri was on the play.
Whoever lent Harlan this deck has some pretty nice cards. It's a foiled Japanese Scalding Tarn.
And I just bought him. As long as you're going to buy your deck, might as well get it in foil Japanese.
Now I can play the mirror against myself.
Serum Visions start for Harlan, leaving up Steam Vents.
Got to figure there's a Lightning Bolt coming out here.
Yeah, it's got a Spell Snare on top. And yeah, you're right, Lightning Bolt in the hand. Has Path to Exile available as well. He'd prefer to not.
Yeah.
And he'll go for a Lightning Bolt.
Kind of a funny thing. You want to get the Electromancer off the battlefield, and technically pathing it will stop it from generating as much mana as it does.
It's only one. Yeah.
Right. But then Kazu can start just casting Gifts Ungiven and setting up turns that go off for enough.
But Harlan is shields down. Here is Barrel and a pass. It's unlikely Kazu could have comboed that turn, but not impossible. And now Harlan will path, or attempt to path, the Barrel.
And unfortunately, because of that Serum Visions, Harlan had to shields down. He wasn't able to Spell Snare the Barrel.
Are we going to see a Remand on the path?
The Spell Snare would just eat that, so that would be a win for Harlan.
Yeah. I was going to say that rarely used second ability on Barrel. It's going to be a try of Remand.
Yeah, and there's Spell Snare.
Yeah, there's
for
Spell
Harlan.
Snare. I haven't actually seen that second ability on Barrel trigger. Not today. Whenever they counter a spell, he may draw and discard.
I played against a neat standard deck on Magic Online. That was all barrels and counter spells. Neat is apt.
Now, Harlan, main phase path. This means that, once again, shields are down. Kazu, because he got path, has 4 mana leading on 5 here. This is actually a concern.
Yeah, with 4 mana up, it's very easy to just have a small number of rituals, cantrips, and just make a lot of goblins with Empty the Warrens. Usually see about 1 copy, but yeah, Kazu doesn't have that, so he has to go for the full Grape Shot kill. He has 3 Grape Shots in the main deck, actually.
Yeah, it's just the straight combo kill in the main.
It's a lot harder to win with Grape Shot in this window.
Yeah, he could, if his hand was a Past in Flames and a bunch of rituals, he'd have a shot here. On 5 mana, it's not impossible, but it looks like he's starting there on Peer Through Depth's main phase that Kazu is going to have to reload.
And certainly going up to the 3rd Grape Shot, you got to figure that's something of a metagame call. He's not expecting a ton of matchups like this, and sometimes you have to mini Grape Shot against a deck like Elves, for example.
Yeah, I mean, that's saying that you actually think just as a removal spell that Grape Shot is worthwhile.
Or that a lot of your opponents are just combo decks that kill you when you empty.
Sure. Kazu makes a 6th land and passes. Harlan will end step a Spell Queller.
Yeah, not always super meaningful to spell quell something in this matchup, and Harlan does have to start looking at closing the game. He's very light on resources now.
Yeah, no, the card he'd like to spell quell would be a Past in Flames, something like that. You see Harlan's hand left over a Lightning Helix and another Queller. What I'll be interested is whether or not Harlan is willing to put that 2nd Queller into play on the end step.
Yeah, and in the early game, Lightning Bolts, Lightning Helixes, they're really good at checking Electromancers, barrels, but with this much mana available, Kazu can just cast a bunch of rituals in response to the first removal spell.
Yeah, he doesn't really need a barrel anymore. He has enough land as is.
It's still hard to Grape Shot from here, to be fair.
Yeah, it never really gets easier. See, Kazu continues to take hits here. He does have a Grape Shot in hand. Looks like Grape Shot, Remand.
Ooh, and Harlan, I want to say he picked up Geist. I'm not sure what the middle card is there.
Ooh, that's interesting. Once he gets to 6 land, Geist of St. Traft would be a very safe play.
I suppose leaving up Helix plus Queller can win a fight that involves a mana reduction creature and some other spell in some situations. For example, if Kazu needed to cast Mana Reducer and Gifts Ungiven on the same turn, leaving both of those up is better than casting Geist. Harlan's clock is also pretty substantial, considering that he can just EOT the Spell Queller at some point, jam for 4 on the following turn, Helix. Kazu's down to 12.
Kazu's hand's pretty interesting right now. As you see, he's on his main phase. He has 5 cards. He has Flooded Strand, Mountain, and then Barrel, Grape Shot, and Remand. Now, I want to talk about the Mountain Flooded Strand. So, Flooded Strand can find 3 Steam Vents and 3 Islands in Kazu's deck. 2 Islands and 3 Steam Vents are already in play.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's most of them. And from here, with Kazu at 10, Lightning Helix, Spell Queller, next turn Animate the Colonnade.
Yeah, if he has the untapped
lethal.
land, it's lethal. He'll shoot Kazu down to 7. Here's the Spell Queller. Well, he's going to fish for the land to see if he can get it.
And it looks like Harlan actually picked up Cryptic Command as well, so he's very well insulated even if he misses.
Yeah, Kazu has to remand the Spell Queller to just keep his life total safer. So
with that
will swing.
remand, even a land would only make it 6 with the Colonnade, so Kazu buys a turn.
Yeah, well, the downside is that Kazu now knows there's a Spell Queller in Harlan's hand.
Yeah. Yeah, Harlan won't be able to convert Spell Queller plus Cryptic Command. He only has 5 mana available.
So Kazu, out of necessity here, he'll start on Serum Visions. Now, he does have that Grape Shot in his hand, so he can try to buy himself maybe a turn by shooting down the Spell Queller. The issue to me seems to be that Harlan can just hold that second Spell Queller for something like a Past in Flames, and while that's happening, I don't see Kazu comboing through it.
Mm-hmm.
Spell Queller is a hard counter spell for everything in Kazu's deck.
Yeah, and I keep coming back to the fact that there's just no main deck Empty the Warrens. This is realistically a game that could have been won by that card. Really hard to Grape Shot out in these positions.
Yeah, I mean, that is traditionally been Storm's fail-safe, is that in any matchup where things get difficult, you can always empty the Warrens very early, and then, their discard, their counter spells, they don't matter.
Yeah, and in particular against these 3-color, just good cards, interactive decks, usually you're sideboarding into a pretty heavy Empty the Warrens package anyway.
Yeah. See Harlan drawing that untapped land, Sulfur falls, activates Colonnade, and that will get the first game over for Harlan Fear. Mm-hmm. So Jeskai Control showing really what it's about. Spell Queller looked fantastic in that game.
Yep, and Harlan just had the right mix of good early interaction, Lightning Bolt Path, and then Spell Snare to fight over those 2 early mana creatures, and then Kazu was never really in it from there.
Yeah, I really liked how, if he was a blue-white deck, he would have had to path the first Electromancer, whereas he got to, as long as the path was on the second creature, the land that it gives on resolution didn't seem like it mattered anymore.
Mm-hmm. And notably, we didn't see any Gifts Ungiven. That would have made more of a game of it for Kazu.
So we will go to the sideboard. Starting on Kazu Negri's side, he has 3 copies of Lightning Bolt, 3 Blood Moons, 3 Empty the Warrens, 2 Shattering Sprees, 2 Dispels, a Dismember, and an Echoing Truth. Now, you were looking for Empty the Warrens in the main deck. Every player can assume playing in Storm that they have them in the 75.
Yep.
Because it's known, do you still want to board them in here?
Post sideboard, there's a good chance that Harlan has stuff that sweeps up and cleans up the empty. You want probably at least one.
Okay.
You might not see like the full against Jund, I'm just going to empty you really fast. It's a lot better against discard decks, a lot worse against counterspell decks. But I'd like to see one coming in, at least one.
So against counterspells, Dispel looks nice. At the same time, you can't Dispel a Spell Queller.
Mm-hmm. And you might even see some small number of Lightning Bolts come in for that reason if you're really worried about Spell Queller. You can just leverage your advantage on the play a little bit better. On the draw, then the Lightning Bolts become much more enticing.
Yeah, oftentimes Lightning Bolts are for matchups like the Storm Mirror, Counters Company, these creature-based combo decks. But you're right, if he knows that Harlan's on Spell Quellers, and he does, and Harlan's not going to board them out, I could see an argument for Lightning Bolt.
Yeah, and then one that's pretty good in almost every game that you play with Storm, he has the sideboard Echoing Truth. That one can just win a lot of games against a lot of different things, Spell Queller being one of those things.
Yeah, as a Storm player, you usually have to board in the one Echoing Truth. You want to respect a card like Leyline of Sanctity.
Yeah, you can also have some trouble with Rest in Peace.
So lastly, Blood Moon. 3 of them in Kazu's board. I would assume they come in a matchup like this.
They're fine. Harlan's relatively heavy on basics. He has 3 islands and a plains, but you can catch him in a situation where Blood Moon is very good a number of times. And on Harlan's side, we have 2 PN Kieran Nalar, 2 Disdainful Stroke, 2 Dispel, 2 Relic of Progenitus, a Wear Tear, a Celestial Purge, a Negate, an Izzet Staticaster, a Vendilion Click, a Supreme Verdict, and an Engineered Explosives. A lot of this stuff is quite good. The counter spells, your Dispels, really good. Disdainful Stroke's actually fine because of Gifts on Given.
Just counters gifts, but that's enough?
Also counters Past in Flames.
Okay, now I'm in.
Yep, it's good against a number of things. Relic of Progenitus is quite good against a lot of the bigger turns for the Storm deck. If you expect Blood Moon, then Celestial Purge is actually pretty good. It always checks Electromancer, so it's fine for that reason. And you have a couple potential answers to Empty the Warrens and Supreme Verdict, Engineered Explosives, and Izzet Staticaster. The best one is Explosives. Good argument for Staticaster as well. And your Vendilion Click is just another way for Harlan to apply more pressure and even take a look at Kazu's hand, so that one's for sure coming in.
Yeah, I feel like we're gonna see a heavy sideboard out of both players here.
Yep.
Especially in Harlan's side when he has cards like Geist to Saint Trapped, which, looking at that game, I don't think he really wanted to cast one game 1, and I don't think he really needs to cast one game 2.
Yep. Yeah, very good chance that one's on the sideboard. Certainly on the draw.
Yes, definitely. I would want to see it there. So I know Harlan you knew what he was playing against Kazu this round. He was happy about this matchup.
Yeah, he said, I hope that he's still playing Storm. That matchup is great.
Well, based on game 1, I can't say I disagree. They're getting ready for a second game. Now, at Star City Games, we have our creature collection. These are the exclusive arts. You've seen them on our game nights. Now, the October game night creature, which is the Vampire Night Fox you see here, that's now available as the StarCityGames.com creature collection. You can pick it up on playmats, sleeves, and more over at the Star City Games store. It's StarCityGames.com/creature collection. I've been interested this weekend on how Modern has come in a circular motion where Jeskai is now... I think this deck is really picking up steam heading into the weekend.
Yeah.
A month ago, we didn't see much of it.
It did just win our last Open in the hands of Harlan Fear.
Yeah, and that win has kind of propelled it toward the top. That's bad news for decks like Storm.
Absolutely, yes. Yeah, blue interaction is really the most powerful kind of interaction against a combo deck like Storm.
Yeah, I mean, you just look at Harlan's deck, something like removal spells, counter spells, and Relic of Progenitus. That sounds so hard to beat from a Storm side.
He fights you on every axis except for discard, but counter spells can be a lot more punishing because they eat your mana as well.
Yeah, and especially when you don't have removal spells, a card like Spell Queller is just a beating.
Yes.
You know, oh, your counter spells are also your win condition. That's, I guess.
Lovely.
Yeah, both players are going to take a mulligan here. Now, I mentioned that Harlan Fear was our most recent Modern champion, the 23-year-old from Charlottesville, Virginia, making the trip here to Charlotte. He has 5 open top 8s and 2 wins. We saw one pretty recently here in Modern.
Pretty good conversion rate as well. 40% of his top 8s
yeah, that's really strong.
W's.
I was going to say, donates his hair after it reaches a certain length. We have seen him, I believe, as, you know, long curly hair before.
Yeah, yeah. Long hair Harlan. Once a fixture of the tour. He's kept it pretty short for the last year or so.
Both players on 6s here.
Looking a little scruffy this weekend, though.
You got to work your way back up to that donation length.
Quite a ways off from that. We're talking, you know, here to the end of his shirt.
Storm, to me, has always felt like a deck where mulliganing can be tough. It's a bit of a critical mass combo deck.
Yeah, certainly. When you're signing up to play cards like Desperate Ritual.
Yeah, you can get some real... If you have to go to 5 cards, you can get some really bad 5s.
Yep.
Like 3 lands, Electromancer, Desperate Ritual. The worst part about that hand is that it's a keep.
Yeah. I guess this is what we signed up to do.
Okay. Hopefully I draw gifts. Shrug.
Hopefully gifts resolves.
Yeah. You're like, I'm going to lose to 1 negate.
That is one thing about the Gift Storm deck. You do find yourself in a lot of turn 3s where the line is to cast Desperate Ritual Gifts Ungiven. And against the blue decks,
oh gosh,
that's really poor.
This is Spell Queller. You're just like, oh yeah. Yep. Both players have kept on 6. I see a Serum Vision starting off on for Harlan.
Yeah, no turn 1 cantrip for Kazu, so either his hand is very good or very bad.
Double fetch line. We'll see if he has a 2-mana creature, either the Barrel or the Electromancer. Looks like he does.
It would be good to sneak that one in under Spell Snare.
Unless this play is Desperate Ritual, in which case I'm really excited.
I would like to see some goblins. Turn 2 goblins would be very nice.
Just, you know, you're always scared of on the play. Your opponent's just like turn 2, Desperate Ritual. And you're like, oh.
Uh-oh.
Okay, Desperate Ritual, Blood Moon.
Okay.
Okay, you know, at least Harlan, and look at that heads-up play. At least Harlan got a basic.
Yep. Yeah, this is a matchup where he can play with a little bit of his life total, but yeah, that basic island's going to do some work here.
What I want to see at the pressure is whether or not Harlan will ever be able to cast a Spell Queller at this point. How many cards did Kazu strand?
Yeah, there's only one basic Plains in the deck. The card that's really pressures is Harlan does have some number of Cryptic Commands in his deck. 3 copies. Those are going to be really hard to convert.
Well, you see Harlan end step here made Snapcaster Mage. Just no, even though there was a Serum Visions in the graveyard, that really shows to me that he doesn't have another blue mana source.
Yep. Yeah, under Blood Moon, it's hard to flash back anything other than Lightning Bolt.
Right.
And with Kazu just ritualing into Blood Moon, you have to figure his hands are pretty light otherwise. So it makes a lot of sense for Harlan to just try to be as aggressive as possible.
He'll attack Kazu down to 12. Now, I want to see whether or not Harlan's going to make this. He just drew a second Snapcaster, whether that's going to join the beatdown party.
The only reason you might not is because you can just lose both creatures to Grape Shot pretty easily.
Or just barrel go. Here's my 1/3.
Yeah, that's rough. Well, once you're in for 1, you may as well be in for 2 against that.
Now the blue-red Storm deck, no problem with Blood Moon. He's going to use that Steam Vents for red mana anyway. And I mentioned how much of Harlan's hand's live here. He has a Dispel or a Spell Snare. He has some 1-mana counter, and he has a Snapcaster Mage. I think the rest of his hand is uncastable. Kazu says go, and yeah, here's another Ambush Viper.
And Kazu has brought in Lightning Bolt here.
He's going to remand the Snapcaster Mage. I love it.
Sure, that'll let you to turn.
Ooh, and he picked up a Grape Shot. Kazu goes down to 10. So if he's willing to let Harlan end step that Snapcaster and willing to go to 6, he could Grape Shot down both Snapcaster Mages.
Yep, 6 can be tough, but you are only facing down Lightning Bolt.
Yeah.
Harlan does not have the requisite white mana to cast Lightning Helix.
Tap, land, and go. Harlan makes a Snapcaster Mage. Kazu will bolt down one of the mages. He did pick up, Kazu did pick up Empty the Warrens as well.
Though Harlan has drawn his sideboard as its Static Caster, so we'll have that one covered.
Oh, and he can cast it too.
The Empty would have been really nice on turn 2. He would have needed at least a second Ritual. I don't know if he had that then.
All right, Kazu's going to start here. Manamorphose. Makes, we'll say red-blue is likely the call. Storm at 1.
Your seatings for the players' meeting are being posted at the gathering point on gold paper. Please make your way to your seats again. 12 p.m. 2-minute giant.
There's just some risk here, though.
Your seatings for the players' meeting are being
He mentioned if he goes for this empty, Harlan Staticaster's at the ready. Now there is, looks like a barrel for Kazu. Great card to have here.
Mm-hmm. Got to figure he's a little bit concerned about getting spell snared.
Sure.
You want to be careful that you actually get to cast the empty at the end of everything.
Right, yeah. If he wasn't worried about spell snare, he would have started the turn on barrel.
Unless he picked it up off the Morphos.
Oh, okay. In which case he has a decision.
Yeah, if drawing that off of Manamorphose is pretty awkward, because you certainly would have just started on it if you had them both. Just because the barrel's just good against Snapcaster Mage on the battlefield.
Looks like Serum Visions will be used off that blue mana. That one, he can delay the decision of whether or not to try for barrel. He can kick that one down the road a little bit. Mm-hmm. It's not like barrel would discount Serum Visions anyway.
Right.
And now Tassable, he will try for the 1/3. See if that hits a spell snare. It does.
Not much Kazu can do with just a red mana left over.
Like before, I think he moves the Storm up to 4 before shipping the turn.
Yeah.
Snapcaster hits Kazu down to 6. Dispel, is it Staticaster in Harlan's hand? He also has Spell Queller, Cryptic Command, so those don't really play here.
Right.
Another barrel for Kazu, and this one resolves. And now he'll go to work. Desperate Ritual. Storm is 2/3 red mana. That one, of course, now a red dark ritual, thanks to the cost reduction ability of barrel.
And Harlan being conservative with his Dispel, part of the reason is that Kazu hasn't made a land drop yet this turn. It was kind of enticing to counter the first Desperate Ritual, but it makes sense not to.
Yeah, he should be up to 5 mana. Harlan corrects him on that. Yeah, there is still that Dispel. It's a very powerful counter in this matchup. We see both Grape Shot and Empty the Warrens in Kazu's hand as the last 2 cards. And Harlan should have both of them covered, actually. Here's Grape Shot, down to 4. Snapcaster Mage and Harlan for the damage, so 1 and 3. And then Empty the Warrens with the last of it. And Harlan says, don't bother reaching for the tokens, I'm going to shoot them all down.
Yep. So now Harlan has to look at a way to actually close the game. Ooh.
Yeah. Oh, drawing his one of basic planes that turn is huge.
That makes things so much easier.
Yeah, the Spell Queller now online from his hand. Electromancer, and Harlan is going to Spell Quell it right away.
And that's just a 3-turn clock.
I was interested to see the Spell Queller be played so quickly, but I guess you're right. He was going to play it anyway.
Kazu was out.
Yeah.
That was his only card.
Kazu now hoping to draw maybe Gifts Ungiven here. But there's a Dispel at the ready for Harlan. Yeah, that's, oof. He'll try for Past in Flames.
So that one you can't dispel, but Kazu will only be able to cast 1 spell. It'll get dispelled.
Gets dispelled, and then the... Oh, yeah, because Harlan can activate Colonnade.
No, he can't. Blood Moon.
No, he can't. So, but Kazu, never mind. Kazu extends the hand anyway. Harlan's going to win 2 games to 0.